The night before our wedding, my boyfriend's first love was critically ill. To see her, he drove over late at night despite my attempts to stop him, and ended up in a car accident. At the critical moment, I saved him, but was left paralyzed from the neck down. He promised never to leave me, yet turned around and married his first love. In the end, I was tortured to death by my caregiver. Given another chance, I watch my boyfriend who insists on going to find his first love. In my previous life, I tried my hardest to stop him. This time around, I cut ties and turned away without a second thought. Can you stop making a scene? Jiao Jiao has no one else to turn to here, and she's seriously ill. She can only ask me for help. What on earth are you so jealous about? She's almost dying. Can't you show a little understanding for her? The sound of my boyfriend's hysterical roar echoed in my ears. I looked at everything before me and took a step back as if jolted awake. The fear of being tortured to death by the caregiver had not yet faded, yet I had been reborn at a time when the nightmare had not yet begun. I have been with my boyfriend for 6 years, accompanying him through all the ups and downs as we started a company together, and our career was just beginning to take off. Both families had already discussed the wedding plans. Tomorrow is the day of the wedding, but my boyfriend had secretly rekindled his relationship with his ex-girlfriend. His white moonlight, behind my back, is white moonlight falsely claimed to be critically ill, and he rushed to her without a second thought. I tried my best to dissuade him, but in the end, I couldn't change his mind and chose to accompany him to see for myself. As a result, we got into a car accident on the way. The moment the truck crashed into us, I shielded him with my body. Later, I was hit and became a high-level paraplegic. While my boyfriend only suffered minor injuries, in front of both families, he promised to take care of me for the rest of my life, but he turned around and cancelled the wedding, marrying his first love instead. My parents turned gray overnight and went to his door to demand an explanation. My boyfriend caused my mother to have a heart attack and die. In despair, my father climbed to the top of my boyfriend's company building and jumped to his death, using his own life to force my boyfriend to take care of me. Under the pressure of public condemnation, my boyfriend resented me and casually handed me over to a caregiver. He watched as I was tortured to death, unmoved, and even prevented me from calling the police. This time, I immediately chose to cut ties with him. Tomorrow is our wedding day. How many hours are left now? She's seriously ill. Doesn't she have her own family? We could easily pay someone to check on her. Why do you have to go yourself? And why is it that she falls seriously ill, of all times, right now? I buried my hatred deep in my heart and secretly pressed the record button on my phone. I've been with you for a full 6 years, and I still can't compare to her. She says she's seriously ill, and you don't even bother to get a critical condition notice. Gu Chen, you believe her over me. If you dare step out of this house, I'll consider all these years of feelings wasted on a dog. Today, we break up, and the wedding is cancelled. Upon hearing this, my boyfriend became even more furious. Shen Qinglan, you're being unreasonable. If there was something between me and her, would I even be marrying you? Jiao Jiao is sick. What's the harm in delaying our wedding by just one day? Without me, you'll be the one to regret it. If you don't want to be a homemaker, plenty of others are willing. Fine, let's break up. Don't come crying to me later. Don't even think about threatening me with a breakup. With those words, my boyfriend turned and walked away. I snapped a photo of his retreating figure, immediately picked up my phone, and posted the recording and photo on my social media feed to make an announcement. My boyfriend left me for his ex-girlfriend. Tomorrow's wedding is cancelled. 6 years of feelings, just treated as if it were for a dog. I posted this on all my social media platforms, and many netizens saw it, rushing over to comment. Some expressed heartache, sympathy, and empathy. Comments below were filled with words of comfort for me. Sister, you're beautiful on your own. Crying over such a scumbag is simply not worth it. Those who betray true feelings will swallow 10,000 needles. He will surely face retribution. Breaking up was the right choice. Seeing his true character and cutting your losses in time means a bright and brilliant future lies ahead. Reading these, I leaned against the wall, finally managing to calm down. I did this to leave evidence, proving that Gu Chen abandoned me first for another woman, to prevent Gu Chen from emotionally manipulating me afterward. My parents saw my social media post and immediately called to ask about it. What exactly is going on? What about the wedding tomorrow morning? My mother asked. I told them the truth honestly and firmly stated that there would absolutely be no reconciliation. Since he chose to chase after his ex-girlfriend, it means he simply can't forget her. So what does that make me? His backup plan? I will absolutely not be with him anymore. 6 years of feelings had long been exhausted in my previous life. I became disabled saving Gu Chen, but I never once Thought of using moral obligation to force him into marriage, but he was the one driving, and a large part of the reason for my accident was his reckless speeding. My parents are old and frail, and their pensions alone cannot cover the enormous medical expenses. I wanted Gu Chen to take responsibility and bear part of my medical costs, but Gu Chen made all sorts of excuses. Even though his company is so wealthy, he was unwilling to offer me any compensation. In my previous life, he came to the hospital to visit me, giving my parents a cold shoulder, who told her to insist on going to the hospital with me. Why should I pay these hundreds of thousands in medical expenses? None of this is my fault. You should make the truck driver pay for it. But the truck driver died on the spot, leaving behind a widow and orphans with no money at all. The parents, their hair graying, pleaded with him humbly, no matter what. Qinglan saved your life, even if you don't consider the years of affection. She is still your lifesaver. If it weren't for her, you would be the one lying in the hospital bed today. Just consider it a favor from your uncle and aunt. Please give us some money so Qinglan can receive proper treatment. But Gu Chen sneered coldly. It's not like I begged her to step in front of me. She did it voluntarily, so why should I pay? Don't even mention hundreds of thousands. I wouldn't pay even a few thousand. My current love is Jiao Jiao, and I won't spend money on another woman's treatment. Shen Qinglan brought this upon herself. Who asked her to take the blame for me? I never needed it. Jiao Jiao said she'll love me no matter what, even if I'm disabled. Don't try to guilt-trip me into taking care of this cripple for the rest of my life. My mother was so angry she had a heart attack. I glared at his heartless, ungrateful face, wishing I could tear him to pieces. 6 years of love had ultimately turned into a joke. I was severely injured, and he married someone else. Now that everything has started over, I will repay him for each and every one of these things. Let's see if his white moonlight ex-girlfriend would still love him if he became a useless person without me to shield him from disaster. Very soon, Gu Chen's mother saw my WeChat Moments post and angrily came to confront me. It's just visiting an ex-girlfriend. Can't you be more generous, you wretched woman? Hurry up and delete that post. Don't ruin my son's reputation. My son is willing to marry you. That's your good fortune. Don't be ungrateful. In the past, with a son as outstanding as mine, he could have had 3 wives and 4 concubines. Now he's willing to marry only you, so you should be secretly delighted. What are you making a fuss about? You're just being overly sensitive. My mother-in-law had long disliked me and had made things difficult for me many times. Having lived a second life, I couldn't be bothered to be polite to her. You old witch, I'll post whatever I want. Not only will I let everyone on my friend list see how your son abandoned me after taking advantage, but I'll also share it on all social media platforms so more people can get to know your son. After saying that, I immediately hung up the phone and blocked Gu Chen and his parents. In my past life, for the sake of a 6-year relationship, I endured and tolerated Gu Chen's parents again and again. Yet, after I got injured trying to save Gu Chen, they never once came to see me. They encouraged Gu Chen to break off our engagement and marry his first love. On the day my mother passed away from her illness, Gu Chen's mother came to me with an air of arrogance, saying I deserved it. I will not let any of these people who killed my family get away. Revenge has only just begun. The next day, my phone calls and text messages exploded. Qinglan, did you know that your boyfriend was in a car accident last night and is still in the ICU being treated? While I was at work, a colleague suddenly said, "That's my ex-boyfriend. What does it have to do with me?" I shrugged my shoulders. The colleague had seen that post on my social media and knew about Gu Chen's infidelity, so he chuckled and asked, "So, does this count as karma?" I don't know if it's karma or not. I only knew that the Gu family parents were frantically searching for me all over the world. I heard that Gu Chen was successfully resuscitated, but he suffered a high-level spinal cord injury and will be a cripple for the rest of his life. The Gu family parents were eager to find a scapegoat to take care of their son for a lifetime. The white moonlight was nowhere to be seen, so they thought of me. As soon as I got off work, they cornered me at the company gate. "Shen Qinglan, my son has been in a car accident and is in the hospital. How can you still go to work with a clear conscience?" Gu's mother rushed up, screaming as she grabbed me. "Why aren't you hurrying to the hospital to take care of my son?" I calmly shook off her hand. "What does your son have to do with me? Don't forget we broke up a few nights ago, Mrs. Gu acted as if she didn't remember anything from that night at all. "What breakup? Did our two families agree to it? You're not trying to abandon my son just because he's disabled from the car accident, are you?" She sat on the ground, crying and making a scene, accusing me. "Oh dear, my son is truly cursed to have ended up with such a cold-hearted woman. My son spent 6 years with her. How much money did he spend on her?" Yet the moment she saw my son seriously injured in the car accident. She immediately called off the wedding and cut ties with him. How can you be so selfish and cold-blooded? Shen Qinglan, you'll face retribution for acting like this. Passers-by on the street all turned to look, their gazes filled with judgment. Once a woman is labeled as materialistic, selfish, and heartless, she becomes an object of scorn, facing criticism wherever she goes. But how could I possibly let the Gu family pin such a label on me? I immediately played the recording from last night. Break up then, don't you dare regret it in the future, don't even think about threatening me with a breakup. Gu Chen's voice came through, and the onlookers immediately cast disdainful glances at Gu Chen's parents, whispering among themselves, your son abandoned me for his ex-girlfriend, insisted on going to the hospital to see her, and ended up in a car accident. That's karma. It's clearly his own fault. Why blame me? I called the company security and had both of them escorted out directly, but the Gu family parents were unwilling to let me off. Seeing that I refused to take responsibility for Gu Chen, they went to find my parents. You know my son likes your daughter. If it weren't for this car accident, they would have been married long ago. My son is now in a car accident, and it must be related to your daughter canceling the wedding. Your daughter must marry my son and take care of him for the rest of his life. Hearing this, my mother was so angry that she clutched her chest. My dad directly swept Gu's mother and father out with a broom. Your son was tangled up with his ex-girlfriend and unclear about it, deceiving my daughter's feelings. He got into a car accident while driving to see his ex-girlfriend. What does that have to do with my daughter? His ex-girlfriend doesn't want to take responsibility, so you suddenly think of my daughter. Now that things have come to a head, you still want my daughter to take care of your son. Dream on. My dad is a taekwondo coach and has never neglected his martial arts skills over the years. He directly beat up the two of them and threw them out. Gu's mother and father were cursing and shouting in the hallway. All the neighbors came over to watch the spectacle. Everyone knows about your son. He abandoned that girl for his ex-girlfriend and ended up in a car accident. He got what he deserved. And now you're trying to drag that girl into it. She's not a fool. Gu's mother wanted to ruin our family's reputation, but I had already let the neighbors know about Gu Chen's scandal. Gu's parents gained no advantage or sympathy and could only slink back home. I went about my work and daily routine as usual. Gu Chen wanted to see me to explain, but I refused to accept it. Until that day, a mediator came to find me. She shoved her large microphone right into my face. Your boyfriend became disabled in a car accident, and he just wants to see you one last time. Why are you unwilling to visit him? I heard that before the accident you two were already planning to get married, but after the accident, you didn't even show up to see him and directly canceled the wedding. Don't you think you're being ungrateful? Hee. I could tell at a glance that the person before me was the best friend of the White Moonlight. Instead of stepping forward herself, the White Moonlight sent her best friend to pin the blame on me. I watched as the camera, mounted high, was aimed directly at my face. Since they won't stop, I don't mind playing along with them. Let them be utterly disgraced. Ma'am, that's my ex-boyfriend. We broke up the night before he got into the car accident. He wanted to cancel our wedding to go see his ex-girlfriend, his so-called White Moonlight, and ended up disabled in a car accident on the way to see her. Instead of holding his ex-girlfriend accountable, he's trying to pin it on me. Are you really going to side with such a scheming scoundrel? The mediator, hearing me address her this way, said resentfully. But you were with him for a full 6 years. Isn't she just an ex-girlfriend? If you had stopped him, he wouldn't have gotten into the accident at all. Doesn't any of this have anything to do with you? If you had kept him from leaving, he might never have ended up disabled. Shouldn't you take responsibility for that? Her twisting of the truth was truly shameless. I sneered. His legs are his own. How could I have stopped him? Did you want me to tie him up and keep him from going? Forgive my bluntness, but a dog with legs thinks every pile of dung outside smells wonderful and can't wait to run out and eat it. What can I do about that? The mediator immediately seized on my words. So, you're admitting that Gu Chen's disability is partly your fault? She pressed aggressively, glaring at me. I crossed my arms. How can you blame me for that? Why don't you talk about his ex-girlfriend's role? If she hadn't called Gu Chen in the middle of the night, claiming she was seriously ill and asking him to visit her at the hospital, why would he have been speeding and gotten into a car accident? You're not going to find her, but instead you come to me, mediating with such bias. What exactly are you even doing? The mediator immediately cut me off. Don't change the subject. We're talking about you right now. What Gu Chen wants to see now is you. Could you really bear to leave him lying alone in that hospital bed, unwilling to see him one last time? How can your heart be so cruel? Fine, it's just a meeting, right? I'll go to the hospital to see him right now. I want to see what tricks Gu Chen is up to." In the hospital, Gu Chen lay on the hospital bed, barely clinging to life, while his parents attended to his every need, even handling his most basic bodily functions. It seemed they had anticipated the mediator's arrival, deliberately making Gu Chen appear haggard and frail. "Qinglan, I was wrong. That day, I was just acting out of spite. You wouldn't really call off the wedding and break up with me just because I'm disabled now, would you?" As soon as Gu Chen saw me, he tried to guilt-trip me. "We've been together for 6 whole years. Can 6 years of feelings really not outweigh a small misunderstanding, or do you look down on me for being a useless person and never want to have anything to do with me again?" Gu Chen, paralyzed from the waist down, probably already knew his life was ruined, so he was eager to drag me down with him. I smiled faintly. "How could that be? Even if we can't be a couple anymore, we can still be friends for life. By the way, where's Lin Jiaojiao? You drove recklessly late at night to get to the hospital for her and ended up in an accident. Where is she now? Why hasn't she come to take care of you?" I turned to look at the mediator. "Didn't you bring Lin Jiaojiao? Gu Chen got into a car accident for her. Where has she run off to? Don't worry. Even though Gu Chen cheated with Lin Jiaojiao, as his friend, I will definitely organize a grand wedding for him and Lin Jiaojiao." Upon hearing this, everyone present changed their expressions. Gu Chen's lips trembled. "Qinglan, are you still unwilling to forgive me? The one I love most is clearly you, not Jiaojiao at all. She and I are just purely friends." I smiled. "Oh, so, on the night before our wedding, despite my attempts to stop you, you broke up with me to drive and find her. Now that you've had a car accident, you're turning back to make me the fool who takes care of you. Gotta say, Gu Chen, you really have thick skin." As soon as the words fell, a figure in white rushed in and suddenly knelt down before me. I took a look. It was none other than my white moonlight, Lin Jiaojiao. I dodged away in disgust, but she grabbed my pant leg. "Sis, I know everything is my fault, but Brother Gu Chen truly loves you. That night, he was just too worried about me, so he got angry with you and drove over to find me. For the sake of your 6 years together, please forgive him. Brother Gu Chen can't live without you." Lin Jiaojiao held on to me, putting on a pitiful act that made it seem like I was the one bullying her. I deflected with a clever retort. "Since you know it's your fault, shouldn't you take good care of Gu Chen for the rest of your life? After all, he got into a car accident because he was rushing to see you when you were seriously ill. You two deserve to be stuck together forever." Hearing me speak about Lin Jiaojiao like that, Gu Chen couldn't sit still any longer. The veins on his hands bulged as he snapped, "Shen Qinglan, don't go too far." At this moment, the mediator signaled to the photographer with a glance. The camera stopped recording. As the mediator and the white moonlight's best friend, she no longer pretended. "Jiaojiao has always had delicate skin and tender flesh since she was young. How could she take care of a disabled person? Even though you are Gu Chen's ex-girlfriend, you still have an obligation to care for him. Don't keep calling it cheating. The one who isn't loved is the third party. Besides, Jiaojiao and Gu Chen haven't actually done anything yet." Lin Jiaojiao stopped crying and stood up directly. "Brother Gu and I really only have a sibling-like relationship. Please don't misunderstand us. If you hadn't stopped Brother Gu that night, how could he have ended up like this?" Mr. and Mrs. Gu even stepped forward and grabbed me. "Only if you take care of our son can we feel at ease." Lin Jiaojiao simply doesn't know how to care for others, and she doesn't even have a job. How is she supposed to support my son in the future? I directly shook off their hands and looked coldly at Lin Jiaojiao. "You're standing here perfectly fine right now. That critical condition you were in that night was nothing but a joke. You deliberately tried to stop me from marrying Gu Chen. What? Now that Gu Chen is disabled, you don't want to take care of him anymore?" Lin Jiaojiao felt guilty. That night, I just wanted to play a joke. I never expected things to turn out like this. Hearing this, Mr. and Mrs. Gu glared fiercely at Lin Jiaojiao. Gu Chen also clenched his fingers but still defended his beloved. Jiaojiao didn't mean it. She didn't expect this to happen. I looked at Gu Chen mockingly. "So now that you've been in a car accident, you want me to take the blame for it? Gu Chen, you're dreaming. If you want someone to take care of you, go find Lin Jiaojiao. Don't drag me into this." Upon hearing this, Lin Jiaojiao immediately panicked. "This has nothing to do with me. I was just joking. I don't want to spend my whole life with a useless person." Her thoughtless words slipped out, and she only realized what she had said after the fact. Gu Chen's face turned ashen, and his gaze toward her grew fierce. "Brother Gu Chen, that's not what I meant. It's not entirely my fault either." Lin Jiaojiao still wanted to argue, but Gu Chen's parents slapped her across the face and glared at her. If it weren't for you, this wretched woman, how could my son have ended up like this? If my son doesn't get better, you'll never be able to escape our family. The mediator immediately pulled Lin Jiaojiao over. Uncle, Aunt, the most important thing right now is to make Shen Qinglan take responsibility for Gu Chen. Jiaojiao will definitely help you. How could you hit her? Upon hearing this, their gaze turned back to me. The best friend of the White Moonlight was aggressive. Shen Qinglan, let me tell you, I am a well-known mediator. If I upload that video from earlier online, it will surely ruin your reputation. Either you obediently take care of Gu Chen for the rest of your life, marry him, and have children with him, or I will let the whole world know that you abandoned him after leading him on, that you're nothing but a gold-digging, selfish woman. Your parents are getting old, and if they get cyberbullied, your mother has a heart condition. Think about what you're going to do. I raised an eyebrow slightly. The public has sharp eyes. Do you really think they won't be able to tell who's right and who's wrong in this matter? The mediator sneered. I am a top-tier mediator with 5 million followers online. With just a little editing, I can twist the truth. Do you think those 5 million fools will actually bother to dig into the facts? Your family will be cyberbullied sooner or later. I pretended to be scared. Is this the kind of manipulative editing you used before to cause so many people to be cyberbullied to death? The mediator scoffed dismissively. Now you know. If you don't comply, you'll be the next one to get cyberbullied. By then, forget about your job. Your family will receive death threats and funeral wreaths every day. I smiled and said, really? I immediately pulled out my phone from my pocket, which was live streaming. The live stream had long been flooded with countless netizens, who angrily denounced the shamelessness of the Gu family and Lin Jiaojiao's group in the barrage. Come on, smile for the camera. I pointed the camera at the people here. Netizens cursed out in all sorts of ways. What a bullshit gold medal mediator. They're actually twisting the truth. They're just birds of a feather flocking together. Sis, you must not be threatened by them. The scumbag and the bitch deserve to be locked up together. I should cyberbully them to death. Ah, the mediator let out a sharp cry. Turn off the live stream. Turn it off now. Sister Wang, it's bad. Our account's follower count is dropping continuously. Many people have reported our videos and are even cursing us in the comments section. The cameraman rushed over with his phone in hand. What do we do now? My phone was still live streaming, and I kindly informed the viewers, this is Wang Na, the gold medal mediator. Everyone, remember to show her some love. Instantly, the barrage was filled with curses directed at Wang Na. Wang Na's social media account was reported and suspended, and countless insults flooded her private messages. The victim's family found her residence, splashed red paint on her, and threw eggs at her on her way out. I watched it all and laughed out loud. In my previous life, after I became quadriplegic, Wang Na twisted the truth, claiming that I used my disability to threaten my boyfriend into breaking up with his first love and marrying me. Back then, I not only suffered from physical pain but also endured online harassment. A few extremists even came to my home, pushed me out of my wheelchair, and took photos of my disabled state to mock me in online groups. My parents tried everything but to no avail. Wang Na made them kneel before agreeing to delete that post, yet she went back on her word, instead telling her fans that my parents were emotionally blackmailing her. Oh dear, my darlings, it's true that a crooked stick will have a crooked shadow, but rest assured, I will stand firm for the truth and the facts, and I absolutely will not be threatened by such people. Now, she is reaping what she sowed. The advertisers she had been working with have all terminated their contracts, and she is facing astronomical compensation claims. Moreover, due to spreading rumors, she has been sued by the families of previous victims and is now facing criminal detention. Within a week, she dragged Lin Jiaojiao to my doorstep and knelt down to apologize to me. Shen Qinglan, I know I was wrong about what happened that day. I shouldn't have twisted the truth. Please step forward and explain it for me. Just say it was all an act, that we were just fooling around. Shen Qinglan, I'm begging you. As soon as she saw me, she grabbed my leg, crying and sobbing uncontrollably. I know I shouldn't have gotten involved in your business with Gu Chen. It was all Lin Jiaojiao who egged me on. Please explain for me. Give me a way out. I really don't want to go to jail or become a deadbeat. Woo woo. Hearing this, Lin Jiaojiao instantly became displeased. I treat you as my best friend. If it weren't for seeing you end up like this, I would never have agreed to come and bow my head to Shen Qinglan, and now you're actually pushing all the blame onto me. Before I could even speak, Wang Na stood up and gave Lin Jiaojiao a hard slap. Her eyes were red. You're nothing but a jinx. You ruined Gu Chen, and now you're coming after me. If you hadn't said you were desperate, that you didn't want to take care of that cripple Gu Chen for the rest of your life, and begged me with tears to help you, why would I have gotten involved in your mess? Now look at me, I've lost my fans, my account is gone, I have to face all these compensations, and I'm being sued, and you're perfectly fine, I treated you like a best friend, and you've ruined me like this. The two of them hurled accusations back and forth, and soon they were physically fighting. Wang Na slapped Lin Jiaojiao across the face, while Lin Jiaojiao fiercely tore at her hair. Ignoring the people around them, the two began to expose each other's secrets. Wang Na called Lin Jiaojiao a dead white lotus, accusing her of always stealing other people's boyfriends to be the other woman. Lin Jiaojiao called Wang Na a filthy bitch, claiming she had sold herself to a CEO in his 70s to climb the corporate ladder. The neighbors around were stunned, and no one dared to step forward to stop them. Some even recognized Wang Na and secretly recorded videos to upload online. Now, Wang Na would never be able to turn her life around. Watching the two of them tear each other apart, I felt an indescribable sense of satisfaction. Having seen enough of the show, I turned and walked away without a second glance. I bought insurance for both my parents and sent them off on a trip early to relax and unwind. Mom has always had heart problems, and I didn't want her mood to be affected by all this nonsense. After handling all of this, I sold the shares I held in Gu Chen's company and took the money. After learning about this, Gu Chen angrily called to confront me. How dare you sell those shares to someone else? I rolled my eyes. These shares are mine, I can sell them if I want to. What business is it of yours? Gu Chen was furious. How can you be so ungrateful? Now that you've sold the shares, those people have acquired more shares than I have, and I've lost my decision-making power in the company. Aren't you just angry that I almost ruined your reputation? But now I'm disabled. What more do you want from me, Shen Qinglan? How could you treat me like this? Listening to the roar on the other end of the phone, I remained exceptionally calm. All of this is exactly what you deserve. What right do you have to blame me, Gu Chen? I'm telling you, what goes around comes around. You deserve all of this. I hung up the phone and blocked the number again. Gu Chen's parents came to the company to confront me once more, but I had already left long ago. Shen Qinglan resigned a few days ago and is no longer with our company, the HR staff said, giving them an annoyed glance. The online uproar was so intense that almost everyone knew about the Gu family's scandal. The Gu parents were like rats scurrying across the street, despised by everyone. Mr. and Mrs. Gu tried calling me, but I had already changed my phone number. I quit my job to stay by my parents' side, traveling with them and enjoying quality time together. Not long after, I learned from a friend that Gu Chen's parents couldn't find me, so they went to Lin Jiaojiao and demanded that she take responsibility for Gu Chen. But how could Lin Jiaojiao be willing to tie herself to a useless person for the rest of her life? She tried to run away on the spot, but Gu Chen's parents pinned her to the ground and beat her severely, dragging and pulling her all the way to the hospital. Lin Jiaojiao called the police. Gu's parents refused to accept this and filed a lawsuit against Lin Jiaojiao, accusing her of intentionally causing their son's disability. Lin Jiaojiao now spends her days hiding, constantly being pointed at and gossiped about wherever she goes. She is on the verge of a breakdown. In order to afford treatment, Gu Chen ultimately had no choice but to sell his company. He finally lost his reputation and became a useless person. After learning that his beloved had no intention of taking care of him, he eventually grew to hate Lin Jiaojiao. Listening to the scumbag and the despicable woman tear each other apart, I was overjoyed every day, until the police found me and came to visit. Only then did I learn that Gu Chen's entire family had been sent to prison. It turned out that Lin Jiaojiao wanted to break free from Gu Chen and planned to run away to another place. Gu Chen's parents hated her for ruining their son and were unwilling to let her go easily. They secretly broke into Lin Jiaojiao's home, drugged her unconscious, and took her back to the countryside. They imprisoned Lin Jiaojiao, demanding that she bear children for the Gu family. My son has become like this, all because of you, you wretched woman. If you dare not take care of my son, we dare to kill you. Lin Jiaojiao was shackled and locked in the cowshed, surviving on scraps of food. Every day, she was forced by Gu's parents to spread her legs and consummate with Gu Chen, living a life worse than that of pigs and dogs. 2 months after Lin Jiaojiao went missing, her friends and relatives finally realized something was wrong and reported it to the police. When the police found Lin Jiaojiao, her abdomen was slightly swollen, her hands and feet were broken, and there wasn't a single piece of intact flesh on her body. It turned out that ever since Gu Chen became a cripple, he had become psychologically twisted. He ordered Gu's father and mother to break Lin Jiaojiao's hands and feet, tormenting her in various ways every day. Lin Jiaojiao suffered a mental breakdown and was sent to the hospital. Gu Chen and his family of 3 were all arrested and charged with intentional assault. Lin Jiaojiao declared that she wanted them dead. She aborted the illegitimate child, but due to malnutrition during pregnancy, she suffered massive bleeding during the procedure and had to have her uterus removed. From then on, she lost her fertility forever. I went to the hospital to see her. As soon as Lin Jiaojiao saw it was me, she completely broke down. Shen Qinglan, you bitch, why didn't you take the hit for Gu Chen this time? You've made me end up like this. I'm going to kill you. Why is it me suffering instead of you? How did I end up like this? I never expected Lin Jiaojiao to have been reborn as well, which is simply fantastic. You've lost your ability to have children now, and with so many videos online, anyone can easily find out what kind of person you really are. Lin Jiaojiao, are you satisfied with this outcome? I laughed out loud. Lin Jiaojiao covered her ears and screamed hysterically. Her face was crisscrossed with scars, and the once proud, delicate features had been brutally slashed by Gu Chen. Without a few 100,000, you can forget about getting plastic surgery to recover in this lifetime. Who would want a woman who's both ugly and infertile? Lin Jiaojiao won't even have a chance to try and hook another rich second-generation guy in this lifetime. Gu Chen's leg injury flared up, and he's being treated right next door to you. You should go thank him when you have the chance, otherwise, you wouldn't have ended up like this. My eyes darkened, hinting at something. Lin Jiaojiao's face twisted into a grimace. After visiting this old friend, I went next door to see Gu Chen. Gu Chen appeared much calmer. When he saw me appear, his dull eyes lit up. Cough, cough, cough. Qinglan, how did I end up like this? Didn't you shield me from the harm of that car accident in this lifetime? I sneered inwardly. Gu Chen had also been reborn. That's perfect. This scumbag and his despicable mistress deserve the retribution that's coming to them. I pretended not to understand and looked at him. What nonsense are you talking about? On the day of your accident, I never got in the car with you. You went to find Lin Jiaojiao all by yourself. What? Gu Chen suddenly sat up, but the pain forced him to lie back down. I smelled the foul stench of his wounds festering and couldn't help but take a step back. Gu Chen looked deeply hurt. Why didn't you stop me and get in the car with me? He muttered to himself, disbelievingly touching his lower body, carefully confirming that both his legs were gone and his face was disfigured. This can't be real, this must be a dream, a dream. He pressed on his festering wound, the pain surging through him. Finally realizing it was the real world, tears streamed down his face. How could this happen? I should have been successful in my career, and my legs should still be here. Shen Qinglan, why didn't you stop me? Why didn't you shield me from that harm? Later, his voice grew increasingly shrill. I crossed my arms, a mocking smile curling at the corners of my mouth. Why should I stop you or take the hit for you? Didn't you say in our past life that everything was my own choice, that you never begged me to take the hit for you, and you weren't even willing to cover my medical bills? Didn't you say that even without me, you would have been fine? Gu Chen caught on immediately. Shen Qinglan, you were reborn long ago, yet you just stood by and watched me become a cripple. Slap. I slapped him hard across the face and said arrogantly, so what, does it feel bad to be a cripple now? Don't worry, you'll have plenty of time to get used to it in this lifetime. Just savor the pain I endured in my past life, and rot away in this one. Gu Chen's eyes were red as he lunged forward, trying to hit me, but without his legs, he instead fell to the ground with a thud. The police outside heard the commotion and came in, only to place Gu Chen back on the bed. Gu Chen winced in pain, his face turning pale. He glared at me fiercely, cursing incessantly. I didn't mind his cursing at all. Watching him struggle on the brink of death, I thoughtfully added a remark that struck right at his heart. Your old flame is right next door. Didn't you used to say she would love you even if you became a cripple? So why did she abort your child this time and try to send you to prison? Upon hearing this, Gu Chen's expression grew even more twisted. Lin Jiaojiao, how dare she abort my child? If it weren't for her, I wouldn't have ended up like this. I'm going to kill her. I smiled and said, no, 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 you should really thank her. Once you recover and leave the hospital, you can go straight to jail. Gu Chen got what he deserved, and those two despicable couples finally faced the consequences they deserved. I left, laughing heartily. Not long after, I heard news about Gu Chen and Lin Jiaojiao again. It was Lin Jiaojiao who had a mental breakdown. While in the hospital, she took advantage of the police's inattention and stabbed Gu Chen in the heart with a fruit knife. Gu Chen died on the spot. Gu Chen's parents, with their white hair, sent off their black-haired son, breaking down in tears. As for Lin Jiaojiao, due to her mental disorder, she was eventually sent to a psychiatric hospital, where she would remain for the rest of her life. Gu's father and mother were sentenced to life imprisonment for unlawful confinement and intentional injury of others. Under aggravated circumstances, just before his death, Gu Chen called me in tears. He told me he was sorry, that he finally realized he was wrong, and that he shouldn't have treated me that way back then, but until his death, I never forgave him. In my past life, I hated not only Gu Chen's heartlessness but also his forcing my parents to their deaths, causing both of my parents to die. I will never forgive such scum in my entire life. I admit I loved the wrong person, but what wrong did my parents do? If Gu Chen didn't want to pay the medical compensation, fine, but he caused my parents' deaths. That is unforgivable. Now, everything has settled. The sky, which had been raining for several days, finally cleared up. The gloom has dissipated. I started a brand new life with my parents after hearing the first story above. What are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. In my previous life, Zhang Jianguo held me close and swore to the heavens, Hongmei, when the factory allocates housing, I will make sure you and our child live in the staff building. But then he gave the technical school spot and the year-end bonus to the female worker Chen Yulan. Her husband died saving me in the molten steel. We must take care of the Liu family's unborn child. During the factory's food shortage, I took my daughter to pick vegetable leaves from the canteen's spoiled leftovers, yet he ordered an imported cake for Chen Yulan's son. A child, growing up, must not go hungry until the night of the winter solstice. My daughter was run over by a forklift while fighting for half a moldy steamed bun, and her leg was crushed. Carrying her cold corpse on my back, I rushed into the factory office and saw Chen Yulan wrapped in the cashmere sweater I wore at my wedding, her fingertip tapping on the housing allocation application form, coquettishly saying, "Brother Jianguo, Wang Hongmei loves you so much, will she agree to a divorce? I'm still waiting to move into the double-balcony cadre building." Zhang Jianguo picked the cake crumbs from her hair. She can't even take care of her own daughter. How dare she disagree? Once the funeral expenses for our daughter are approved, it'll be just enough to pay for Xiaolong's school selection fee. In despair, I carried my daughter and jumped into the factory's steel-making furnace. When I opened my eyes again, I was back at the morning when my daughter secretly hid half a steamed bun and gave it to me. This time, I tore up the banner of the model family, grabbed the firewood chopper from the corner. "Kid, let's go, we're having a feast at the factory canteen. Today's braised pork is unlimited." The first thing I did after being reborn was to tear down the model family banner hanging on the wall. This damn thing has been hanging for 5 years, turning me into the most laughable living Buddha in the factory. "Hongmei, what the hell are you doing?" Zhang Jianguo came home from work and saw me standing on a ladder, cutting up the silk banner. His face instantly darkened. He hurried over and reached out to snatch the scissors from my hand. This was personally awarded by the factory director. "Why are you tearing it up?" His face turned ashen as he reached to pick up the fragments on the floor, but I pushed him away. To hell with the factory director. I shook off his hand, and with a sharp snip of the scissors, the velvet fabric tore apart. I stared at him with a cold sneer. "Zhang Jianguo, how dare you hang this thing on the wall?" Model family, ask anyone in the whole factory, who doesn't know that this banner is just a cover for your shame. I stomped on the torn banner lying on the ground, kicked it a few times, and spat on it fiercely. At that moment, Xiaofang, who had been huddled in the corner, cautiously tugged at the hem of my coat and pulled out half a steamed bun from her cotton-padded jacket. "Mom, here, eat this. Please don't fight with Dad anymore." The daughter was so thin that her skin clung to her bones, her fingers frozen bright red. My heart felt as if it had been stabbed by a knife. I grasped her wrist, feeling the sharp protrusion of her wrist bone. In my previous life, at this very moment, I wiped away my tears, broke the steamed bun in half, and said, "Mom isn't hungry." 3 days later, she closed her eyes forever. "Xiaofang, don't be afraid." I held her tightly, my voice choked with emotion. "This time, Mom won't let you go hungry again." "Hongmei, what on earth are you trying to do?" Zhang Jianguo stomped his feet anxiously. "You're harming yourself by tearing up the banner. How can I ever show my face in this factory again, being human?" I sneered, grabbing the firewood axe from the corner, seizing him by the collar, and dragging him to the cafeteria entrance. "Come on, today I'll show you how to be a decent person." In the cafeteria, workers who didn't have enough food coupons had already formed a long line. Master Wang stood behind the window, and when he saw me charging in with a kitchen knife, his face turned pale with fright. Sister Zhang, what are you doing? Master Wang's voice trembled, the iron ladle in his hand shaking like a sieve. Give me Zhang Jiangwo's meal card. I slammed my hand on the counter, the blade sinking into the wood. This isn't according to the rules. Master Wang looked troubled, glancing back at Zhang Jiangwo standing at the back of the crowd. Rules? I sneered. Zhang Jiangwo, tell everyone here, which orphan did you hand your salary passbook to take care of? Seeing him remain silent, I shouted even louder, I'm taking your meal card today, and if you dare say even half of no, I'll tear this cafeteria down. The crowd began to stir, with murmurs rising and falling. Goodness, what's gotten into Wang Hongmei today? I heard she had a falling out with Zhang Jingguo, even the banner was torn up, and right in front of the child. How did things suddenly get so bad? I couldn't be bothered with all this idle gossip, so I turned and grabbed Lu Xiaolong, who was standing in the corner. He was wearing brand new sneakers and holding a cream cake, with the word imported printed in large letters on the cake box. Don't you touch my son. Chen Yulan rushed in on her high heels, the gold necklace around her neck flickering faintly. I looked at her coldly. Chen Yulan, you used my money to buy milk powder for your child, and cake, while making my daughter eat spoiled vegetable leaves. Wang Hongmei, what madness are you up to? Zhang Jingguo finally couldn't hold back, rushing over to try and pull her away. Xiaolong is just a child, don't scare him, I sneered, snatched the cake from Lu Xiaolong's hands, and slammed it hard into Zhang Jiangwo's face. Is this what you call? It's not easy for orphans and widows. Open your damn eyes and look at Lu Xiaolong, then look at our daughter, look at Zhang Yulan, then look at me, who looks more like an orphan and a widow. The daughter wore a tattered cotton-padded jacket that let in the wind, and her worn-out cotton shoes exposed her toes. Her small face was frighteningly thin, leaving only a pair of eyes that were large and bright. My worn-out factory uniform had sleeves so frayed they were falling apart, and due to malnutrition, my hair was as dry as withered grass. Chen Yulan and her son stood beside us, making them look like celebrities on television. The crowd of onlookers grew larger, and the cafeteria buzzed with murmurs. Look at Lu Xiaolong, dressed like a little master. Does he look like a child who lost his father? A female worker whispered. And look at Wang Hongmei's daughter, so thin she's just skin and bones, with coal dust stuck under her fingernails. A male worker chimed in, shaking his head and sighing. Wang Hongmei is also a foolish woman. Despite being the family member of a director, she lives a life worse than that of an ordinary worker. Exactly. I heard that Little Dragon's milk powder is all imported, while Little Fong can't even afford a steamed corn bun. I've long heard that Chen Yumei has an ambiguous relationship with the director. Look at her, always painting her eyebrows and eyes, swaying her hips and waist. She's already got Zhang. The director is so hooked that he doesn't even recognize his own wife and children. This red plum is really unlucky, marrying a man like Zhang Jingguo. She's really had the worst luck in 8 lifetimes. A middle-aged woman shook her head and sighed, holding Little Fong in my arms. I stood in the center of the crowd, listening to these comments, and slapped myself. Even outsiders could see things so clearly, yet in my past life, I was completely fooled by them. 6 years ago, when Zhang Jingguo was inspecting the workshop, the blast furnace suddenly exploded. It was Engineer Lu who shielded him, but Lu himself was splashed with molten steel and burned to death. Out of guilt, Zhang Jingguo applied for the highest level of subsidies and compensation for Lu's family, and also arranged for Lu's 8-month pregnant widow to be employed at the steel plant. From that day on, Chen Yulan moved into our home. Zhang Jingguo told me to take care of Chen Yulan during her postpartum confinement. I've let old Lu down, and we should look after her and her child, Zhang Jingguo said, his voice filled with guilt. I agreed. At that time, I had also just given birth. Right after delivering, I was up washing diapers, and during my own confinement, I breastfed until my nipples cracked. Yet I gritted my teeth and endured, persevering. When Chen Yulan was in confinement, I stewed carp soup for her, cooked millet porridge, and stayed up all night taking care of her child. But my daughter, only a few months old, was thrown into the factory nursery by Zhang Jingguo. He never once picked her up. Every time I went to pick her up, she would cling to me tightly, her little hands clutching my collar. Mommy, baby misses Daddy. Dad is awesome, he's a big hero. Looking into my daughter's innocent eyes, my heart ached faintly. I could only hold back my tears and tell her, be good, sweetie, Dad is the director and he's busy, he'll come play with you as soon as he's done. But deep down, I knew that from then on, the so-called busy with work became the norm, and Zhang Jingguo spent less and less time at home. He asked me to use my year-end bonus to support Qin Yulan and her son, saying that Xiaolong was born prematurely because of him and had congenital deficiencies, so he needed to drink imported formula, nourish the body. I didn't hesitate, after all. He was the director, a man of great reputation, with a conscience and a strong sense of loyalty, a moral role model in the factory. What he said was right. As an ordinary worker, how could I not follow the director's arrangements? Later, Qin Yulan was dissatisfied with the boiler tending position assigned by the factory, finding it dirty and tiring. She is an illiterate rural woman with no other skills, and the factory is unwilling to assign her any other work. Zhang Jingguo also told me to give up my technical school spot to Qin Yulan, so she could go for training and then transfer to a different position. Had worked hard for this spot for a long time. I had been an advanced worker for consecutive years, and the factory intended to promote me, so they sent me to the technical school to gain some credentials. Zhang Jingguo spoke with genuine sincerity. You are more capable than Xiao Chen, and there will be other opportunities if you miss this one. I feel sorry for old Lu. Can't let his wife and children suffer anymore. After hesitating for a long time, I finally agreed. After all, he is my husband, my everything. After Qin Yulan completed her training, Zhang Jingguo arranged for her to work in his workshop, saying it was to take care of her since she was new and unfamiliar with many things I don't understand, and I was transferred by him to take over Qin Yulan's position as a boiler stoker, a skilled worker, willingly shoveling coal. I was deceived by Zhang Jingguo's sweet talk, and I was content with his constant flattery of calling me a virtuous wife. It's not that no colleagues have reminded me, Hongmei, a man's money is where his love is. If he truly loved you, he wouldn't let you suffer. He and Qin Yulan are definitely not innocent, but I retorted righteously, don't talk nonsense. I know my husband best. You shouldn't spread rumors. What I couldn't accept the most was that my daughter originally had the chance to attend a school for children of cadres, but Zhang Jingguo asked me to give the spot to Lu Xiaolong. I disagreed. This was an opportunity that countless people dreamed of, and I also wanted her to receive a better education, unlike me, who was stuck in the factory for a lifetime. But Zhang Jingguo insisted, saying that Xiaolong is a boy and has lost his father, so he needs to study and broaden his horizons even more. As for our daughter, when she grows up, she can just inherit my job and work in the factory. I tearfully pleaded. Jiangwo, Xiaofeng has always been a sensible and good child. She often tells me how much she wishes her father could study with her. Wondering what her father does when he works outside, she also hopes that her father will buy her beautiful paintbrushes and teach her how to paint. How can you bear to deprive her of this opportunity? Zhang Jingguo impatiently interrupted me and left the house. Xiaofeng saw us arguing because of her schooling. She took the initiative to find her father and gave up the spot. Later, Zhang Jingguo repeatedly promised that when a new spot became available the following year, Xiaofeng would definitely go to school. Xiaofeng lost the opportunity to attend the school for children of cadres and didn't go to school for several years in a row. She could only go with me to tend the boiler. Every time she saw the heaviness in my eyes, she would run over and hug me tightly, comforting me in her childish voice. Mom, don't be sad. I like burning the boiler with you, so we can always be together. Looking at her innocent smile and understanding eyes, my heart aches unbearably. Later, when the factory faced a food shortage, Zhang Jingguo told me that as the wife of a director, I should have the awareness to share both the joys and hardships with the factory. Adversity, even though our family is struggling, we can't add to your father's burden. I said to my daughter, let's just pick up some wilted vegetable leaves and make some porridge, we'll get by. My poor daughter, just a little girl of a few years old, was so thin from hunger, yet she nodded understandingly. On the day of the winter solstice, she couldn't bear the hunger any longer and went to the factory area to scavenge for a piece of moldy, spoiled steamed bun. She was crushed to death by a forklift. I cried my heart out, but Zhang Jingguo told me to stop making a scene. He said the factory would compensate us and urged me to look forward. I carried my daughter's body to the factory office, seeking justice, but I ran into Zhang Jingguo and Qin Yulan discussing how to divorce me. Hongmei is very foolish. She sees me as her everything. As long as I coax her a little, she would even give me her heart. Zhang Jingguo said smugly. I blamed my daughter's death entirely on her, saying that seeing her reminded me of my deceased daughter, and that I needed to separate from her for a while. Will agree, once the divorce is finalized, you must marry me right away. I'm still waiting for you to take me and Xiaolong to live in that double Balcony cadre building, Chen Yulan cooed, laugh, then I'll give you a big, healthy baby boy to keep Xiaolong company. With that, they embraced each other. My heart has completely turned cold. That night, holding Xiaofeng's body, I jumped into the factory's boiler. You wicked woman, why do you get to take my cake? Why do you get to insult my mom and dad? Hearing Xiaolong call him dad, Zhang Jiangwo's face instantly flushed red, and he awkwardly spoke up, Xiaolong is young and doesn't know that I am not his father. I saw the child was pitiful and didn't want him to be called a fatherless bastard, so I let him call me dad. You're talking nonsense, I sneered. Zhang Jingguo, do you think I'm blind? Do you think everyone in the factory is blind? The things you and Qin Yulan have done, do you think you can hide them from everyone? Upon hearing my words, Xiaolong's face flushed red with anger. He charged over abruptly and bit down on my leg. Ah! I cried out in pain. Xiaofeng saw Xiaolong biting me and immediately rushed over, pushing Xiaolong away with a shove. Xiaolong lost his balance and fell heavily to the ground, letting out a loud cry, bursting into loud sobs. Seeing this, Chen Yulan immediately rushed over, hugged Xiaolong tightly, looked at him again and again, and then pointed at me, scolding the people around. You look at this woman, she's such a shrew, no femininity at all. No wonder her husband doesn't want her, serves her right for only giving birth to daughters. What use is a woman who can't bear a son? She might as well go back to her parents' home sooner. Her ancestors must have done something immoral. That's the retribution she deserves, not even able to bear a son. Upon hearing her words, Zhang Jiangwo's face darkened, and he frowned as he scolded, Yulan, stop talking, I will say it. Chen Yulan retorted sharply, Lu Jiang saved you, so is that how you let your wife bully us? Mother and son, do you even have a conscience? Zhang Jiangwo stood frozen in place, then raised his hand and slapped Xiaofeng, knocking her teeth out and leaving her mouth full of blood. The daughter covered her face, her small body trembling slightly, her expression filled with disbelief. Dad, why did you hit me? Who told you to bully your brother? And you, Xiao Hongmei, hurry up and come back with me. Isn't this embarrassing enough? After saying that, he tried to grab me. How dare you hit my daughter? I'll fight you two adulterers to the death. I gritted my teeth, grabbed a kitchen knife, and lunged at Zhang Jian. Gua and Chen Yulan, Xiao Hongmei, you're insane. Zhang Jiangwo's face turned pale, and he hurriedly reached out to stop me, but when he saw my bloodshot eyes, a hint of fear, quick, Yulan, take Xiaolong and go, don't let the child get hurt. As he spoke, he stopped me and signaled a colleague nearby to escort Chen Yulan and her son away. At this moment, Zhang Jiangwo still remembered the safety of the mother and child. Colleagues in the cafeteria gathered around, some trying to hold me back, others shouting that I had gone mad. Hongmei, put down the knife. The factory director's voice came from afar. I saw the factory director walking over with a complex expression, accompanied by an unfamiliar face. Zhang Jiangwo, what is going on here? He sternly reprimanded Zhang Jiangwo. Zhang Jiangwo's face flushed bright red, and his forehead was covered in cold sweat. Director, it was my mishandling, don't worry. I'll take care of it right away. Red Plum walks away. He grabbed me and whispered in my ear, pleading, Hongmei, dear Mimi, I know you're angry, but this isn't the time to make a scene. Let's find a place where we can have a proper talk. Talk about what? I sneered. Zhang Jiangwo, do you really think I'd still believe you? Hongmei, stop making a scene. Zhang Jiangwo's voice carried a hint of panic. If you really cause a commotion in public, it won't be good for anyone. Hongmei, don't be impulsive. The factory director stepped forward. Stop this. Look at you holding a knife. What kind of image is that? This matter can be discussed properly. There's no need to resort to knives or weapons. With that, he signaled to the secretary beside him to take my knife. I glanced at the factory director and finally, slowly, let go. Seeing this, Zhang Jiangwo took a deep breath. Hongmei, don't be angry, the factory director said in a softer tone. Look, everyone in our factory knows what kind of person Jiangwo is. He has been awarded the Model of Morality for years and is always eager to help his colleagues. This matter must be the result of someone spreading rumors behind his back. Don't you think so, Zhang Jiangwo? As he spoke, he kicked Zhang Jiangwo again. In my previous life, I went to the factory director with my child in my arms, crying and complaining. He said we should prioritize the collective, and if my daughter was gone, I should just have another boy to carry on the Zhang family line. Zhang Jiangwo stepped forward, tightly holding my hand, looking sincere. Yes, Hongmei, I, Zhang Jiangwo, am completely innocent. I swear to, the earth can bear witness, I dare to assure the organization that there is absolutely no improper relationship between me and Qin Yulan." He paused, then said ingratiatingly, "Hongmei, you are a good wife, managing everything inside and outside the home in perfect order. Who in the factory doesn't know that you are a virtuous woman, but you also have to understand, our life is not easy. And sometimes misunderstandings are inevitable. I will take this as a lesson for the future. Balance the relationship between the small family and the larger family, and don't let these small matters affect the marital bond." Exactly, harmony in the family leads to prosperity. When the family is harmonious, any conflict can be resolved. We are all reasonable people, we must not let others' misunderstandings have affected the atmosphere of our factory. Haha. Seeing my expression soften, the factory manager quickly signaled Zhang Jianguo to take me away. Amid their expressions of certainty and confidence in victory, I grabbed the pant leg of an unfamiliar face standing beside the factory director and slowly knelt down. "Leader, you must stand up for me. I want to file a complaint. I want to accuse that hypocritical moral model, Zhang Jianguo. He's not human, he abuses his wife and children. He feeds us rotten vegetable leaves while he himself takes other women and their illegitimate children to the canteen, dine in braised pork and imported cake." Everyone was stunned. The cafeteria instantly fell silent, with all eyes fixed on me. Zhang Jianguo's face was filled with terror as he reached out to pull me. The factory director's smile froze on his face, and he was about to open his mouth to persuade me. I waved my hand, cutting them off, and continued, "And the factory director, he's just turning a blind eye. As a leader, he doesn't seriously investigate the truth, only thinking about brushing things off, using these high-sounding words to dismiss me. He doesn't care at all about the lives of us at the bottom, still talking about the food shortage, but when it comes to distributing grain to us workers, they shortchange us, while these cadres are feasting on lavish meals here." My voice rang out with conviction, striking a chord in the hearts of every onlooker. The factory director stammered, his face turning pale. "Hongmei, if it's a family matter, let's keep it within the family. Don't make baseless accusations. The factory is facing difficulties, and the food shortage is real. We are also trying to. How can we solve this? As for what you mentioned, there might be some misunderstandings. We can look into it further." The factory director was about to speak again, but the unfamiliar face frowned and said, "Stop trying to smooth things over, let the female comrade continue." As he spoke, he reached out to help me up. I avoided his hand. "Sir, I don't know how high your rank is, nor do I understand exactly what you're in charge of, but I can sense the authority in your calm demeanor. From the commanding aura you exude, I can sense that your official rank must be higher than the factory director's, with the authority to thoroughly set things right." At this point, my emotions surged, and my voice trembled with tears. "Zhang Jianguo, that heartless man. He sent me to stoke the boiler for his mistress Qin Yulan. He transferred her without a second thought. A rural woman who can read a few words goes to the office. He also let that woman's child take my daughter's spot, causing my daughter to have no school to attend. At such a young age, she can only follow me to stoke the boiler." As I spoke, I pulled my daughter, who was hiding behind me, and said to her, "Xiao Fang, quickly beg this just and upright official, he will help us, I am the one in charge." My daughter imitated my posture and knelt down. Her clear eyes looked at the leader, and she timidly said, "Uncle Leader, I want to go to school." As soon as she finished speaking, large teardrops rolled down from her eyes. Then, with a thud, Xiao Fang and I bowed our heads heavily to the ground. The colleagues around us were filled with shock. Some were whispering among themselves, while others cautiously glanced in our direction. The leader was momentarily stunned but quickly regained his composure and authority. He extended his hand once more. "Comrade Hongmei, I am the minister in charge of the steel plant in the city. Rest assured, I will thoroughly investigate this matter and give you a fair response, but for now, you must stand up and cooperate with the investigation." I let go of the leader's pant leg and stood up, pulling Xiao Fang with me. The young man who had been standing beside the minister then led us to an office, brought paper and pens, and said gently, "Don't worry, take your time, tell me everything that happened." From start to finish, I recounted every detail, from Zhang Jianguo's selfish arrangements, to the factory director's indifference, and Qin Yulan's provocations and bullying. I have described everything clearly. I poured out all the grievances I had endured over the years, crying my heart out with tears and snot, my vision going dark in waves. Finally, I received the investigation results. The factory director was severely criticized. Zhang Jianguo was also fined and received disciplinary action from the factory. The factory transferred me back to the workshop, and Xiao Feng could go to school like other children. I made a decisive move and proposed divorce to Zhang Jianguo. However, to my surprise, Zhang Jianguo did not agree to the divorce. No matter how much leaders and friends tried to persuade him, he remained resolute, showing no sign of relenting. Every day, he would wait for me at the factory gate with his bicycle, even confessing his feelings in public. He even encouraged our daughter to persuade me, but she had already seen his true colors. My daughter held my hand tightly, her eyes firm. Mom, whatever decision you make, I will support you. Now, since you've been apart from Dad, you've been much happier than before. But Qin Yulan panicked. On the way home from work, she stopped me. Wang Hongmei, Zhang Wo doesn't want you anymore. How can you still shamelessly cling to him? I couldn't be bothered with her. It's Zhang Jianguo who doesn't want a divorce. You should go talk to him. As I was about to leave, she grabbed the handlebar. Wang Hongmei, look at yourself. I bet you're like a dead fish in bed too. Look at how you've made Jianjun so desperate. Every time, he's practically dying on top of me. Even though I knew Zhang Jianguo's heart had long left me and our child, hearing that they had slept together still made my heart ache with a sharp pain. I shook off her hand and calmly said, "You really have no shame. If you like picking up trash so much, then it's all yours. I don't want it." Disgusting. Before she could react, I got on my bicycle and rode away. When he said again that he didn't want a divorce, I agreed. All right, if you send Qin Yulan and her son away, I won't divorce you. The factory director mentioned earlier that he could arrange a position for her at the second factory work. He looked furious. Wang Hongmei, why are you always targeting Yulan? I've already sworn that Yulan and I have never wronged you. Why can't you just tolerate her? I sneered. Is that so? Qin Yulan said you'd rather die on him. He angrily retorted, how could that be? Her husband died because of me. How could I possibly sleep with his wife? Would I still be human then? Seeing that I remained silent, he took my hand and said gently, Hongmei, we can't send them away. The second factory is so remote, and they're a widow and her orphan child. They'll be bullied. I was trembling with anger. The factory director personally gave the order. How could she possibly be bullied? With Qin Yulan's temperament, she wouldn't let others bully her. It's already good enough not to owe others. Besides, Lu Jiang died in the line of duty, and the factory provided compensation and subsidies. I also agree that you set aside a portion of your salary each month. They've been subsidized. I see she's wearing and using the trendiest things from our factory. As for you, why are you pretending to be pitiful here? I roared. Look at me and Xiaohua. What kind of life are we living? We can't even secure the most basic necessities. We're hungry and cold. Who is really being bullied? It's me and Xiaohua who are being bullied, yet you never stand up for us. Are you repaying a favor or do you have other intentions? Don't you know it in your own heart? The more I spoke, the more agitated I became, and my voice grew louder. Zhang Jianguo opened his mouth, his expression changing repeatedly. In the end, he sighed helplessly and agreed to the divorce. News came from the factory that I was to be promoted to team leader. The factory director, beaming with a smile, said, Hongmei, congratulations, your hardships have finally paid off. Actually, the factory had planned to promote you all along, but later you were transferred to the boiler room. Now, seeing how tough things have been for you, the factory has decided to make it up to you. I calmly said, thank you for the factory's kindness, but I don't plan to accept it. The factory director looked at me in surprise and was about to try to persuade me when I continued, I heard that if you voluntarily step down now, you can receive a subsidy, right? I'll take that subsidy. The factory director widened his eyes, trying to persuade me, Hongmei, don't act on impulse. I know you're upset about divorcing Zhang Jianguo. It's tough, but you have to think about the child. But I had made up my mind. I told him I was planning to take Xiaofeng to Shenzhen. The call for reform and opening up had already sounded. It was a place full of opportunities and challenges, and I didn't want to waste the rest of my life in a stagnant factory. I don't want to spend my whole life muddling through in the steel mill. I want to fight for a better future for me and Xiaofeng. The factory director sighed at my words and agreed to my application. Back home, I told Xiaofeng about my decision. She held my hand tightly and said, Mom, I believe in you. You are my role model. I will always support you. And so, with dreams of the future in our hearts, we boarded the train bound for Shenzhen. After 2 days of bumpy travel, we finally arrived in this magical city. After some inquiries, I arranged for Xiaofeng to attend a workers' school. The school environment was excellent, with shady trees, spacious and bright classrooms, and friendly teachers. Seeing Xiaofang's smiling face, my heart was filled with joy. To celebrate Xiaofang's arrival in the new environment, I took her to KFC. When the tender, juicy fried chicken and the spicy, delicious sauce appeared before Xiaofang for the first time, she burst into tears. "Mom, this is even better than the braised pork in the cafeteria." I looked at her, silently vowing in my heart that I must give her a better life. After that, I started working at a clothing factory. The work there was tough, requiring long hours of labor in the stuffy workshop every day, but I was happy because there were no corrupt interpersonal relationships or complicated social customs here. Here, everything depended on one's own efforts. The more you worked, the more you earned. However, No, I can't stay in the garment factory forever. If I leave the steel mill only to end up in a garment factory, my whole life might be. What great achievements have been made. One day, after the minister learned about my situation, he had his secretary call me. "Hongmei, your courage is truly admirable, but you need to keep up with the news and follow the policies to live a good life." I listened to the minister's words and spent every work break at the factory's newsstand reading political newspapers. Before long, I actually found an opportunity. I started learning about stock trading, bought many books, and often went to the exchange to ask experienced investors for advice. My daughter joked that, if I had studied with this kind of effort, I would definitely have gotten into university. I opened an account, invested half of my savings, and with a bit of luck, I earned my first pot of gold in life. With this money, I bought a piece of land on the outskirts of the city. At that time, land wasn't very expensive, and I began preparing to build a factory for garment manufacturing. For this small factory, I put in a lot of effort, from finding workers, purchasing equipment, to designing products, and exploring the market. I personally handled every step. Xiaofang is also very sensible. She does well in her studies and often shares with me the little things that happen at school. Watching her grow day by day fills me with immense joy. My colleagues at the steel mill, knowing that I had found good opportunities after leaving, also wanted to join me. Once, an old colleague came to me and talked about some things that happened at the mill. He said with a look of emotion, "Hongmei, you really had foresight. After you left, Zhang Jianguo married Qin Yulan. They did indeed move into an apartment building, and at first, their life was quite good, but who could have imagined that the wave of layoffs would come? When you went into business back then, some people even mocked you. But now it seems you were the smartest one." I was stunned for a moment and didn't speak. The steel mill went bankrupt and was turned into a pig farm. The factory director and Zhang Jianguo didn't want to leave, so now they're making a living at the pig farm. And that Qin Yulan, as expected, is not an easy person to deal with. When she saw Zhang Jianguo down on his luck, she turned around and ran off with Xiao Long and the factory's accountant, Zhao. I heard that the accountant and Qin Yulan are from the same village, and they've been having an affair for a long time. Even Xiaolong is the accountant's child. No wonder he looks so much like. Lu Gong doesn't look like that at all. That Lu Jiang, truly pitiable. His colleague Wang Chang said that on the day of the incident, Lu Jiang was completely dazed. He kept mumbling about his wife. The child in the woman's belly is not his, and he wants to go home to kill the adulterer and the adulteress. A mistake in operation led to the boiler explosion. Later, Lu Jiang died, and since the dead are to be respected, Wang Chang didn't dare say anything. Poor Zhang Jianguo, treating that bastard like a treasure, not knowing how many times he's been cuckolded. She kept chattering on, but I lost interest in listening any further. I called over the supervisor and arranged for her to start work. She followed along, full of gratitude. Once while on a business trip to Guangzhou, I happened to see Qin Yulan on the street. She was wearing a cheap red tight-fitting dress, with heavy makeup that couldn't hide the weariness and exhaustion. She was offering services for 50 yuan a time. I saw John start a transaction with her at the street corner. After it was over, the John changed his expression, not only refusing to pay but also viciously lashing out at Qin Yulan. "Rotten vegetable leaves, with your flabby appearance, you still want money." Her face was filled with terror, and she could only plead helplessly, only to be met with even more severe beatings from the other party. After venting his anger once more, the John pulled up his pants, cursing and grumbling, and threw a crumpled 50 yuan bill in her face. At that moment, a dark figure flashed at the entrance of the alley, and Xiao Long, with his yellow hair and a cigarette dangling from his mouth, sauntered over. He snatched Qin Yulan's bag, spilling out a few coins and half a box of condoms. "You old wretch. Is this all the money you have?" He kicked her in the chest. Qin Yulan crashed into the wall, her unfocused gaze suddenly fixed on me, as if recognizing me. Her lips moved twice, but in the end, finally closed his mouth. It turned out that after being laid off, Accountant Zhao brought his wife and child to Guangzhou. At first, Accountant Zhao did make some money, however, he soon became addicted to gambling and ended up losing everything of value in the house. He even used Chen Yulan as a gambling chip. Chen Yulan was uneducated and had grown accustomed to being lazy and indulgent. To survive, she had no choice but to turn to prostitution, and Xiao Long, lacking proper guidance and education from a young age, developed a rebellious personality. Watching his father gamble and his mother engage in prostitution, he gradually gone astray. He joined a motorcycle gang, mingled with unsavory characters, rode recklessly through the streets, and specialized in robbing passers-by, pedestrians and vehicles. Soon after, they were arrested and put in prison. At my daughter's college celebration banquet, I saw Zhang Jianguo again. He was slightly stooped, looking weathered and weary. He walked up to me and carefully began, "Hongmei, it's been so many years since we last met. You've really changed so much. Now you are young and beautiful. I hardly recognized you." I responded lightly, "What's the matter? I often see you on TV. I never expected your business to be so successful. Truly impressive. You've also raised our daughter so well. She even got into Tsinghua University," he said with genuine sincerity. "Hongmei, I miss our daughter, and I miss you too." I sneered coldly and spoke without mercy. "Thinking about it now is a bit too late. Back then, for Chen Yulan's sake, you didn't hesitate to cast us mother and daughter aside. All these years, while you were out there living carefree, did you ever think about the hardships we faced? Only when you've fallen on hard times yourself do you start to regret. What kind of logic is that?" A pained expression appeared on Zhang Jianguo's face. "Hongmei, I truly regret it. I was blinded by Chen Yulan's pitiful appearance and failed to see her true nature. All these years, I've felt guilty toward you and Xiaofang. Now I understand. The one I truly love is you." I couldn't help but laugh as if hearing a joke, saying, "That makes you sound like a victim. Back then, to maintain a good reputation, you feel perfectly justified in having me support Chen Yulan and her child. Seeing that Chen Yulan is young, beautiful, and outgoing, you've developed feelings for her again, but you don't dare admit it, fearing it might damage your reputation, so you're forcing me to take the initiative to divorce you. You say that having a son or a daughter is the same, but in reality, you think your own daughter isn't as good as someone else's son, am I right? And you claim you miss me and our daughter. All these years, I've never stopped you from seeing her. But have you ever actually visited her? Now that we've made something of ourselves, you come pretending to be remorseful, asking me and our daughter to take you back. Do you think I would still believe your nonsense?" My words were like a sharp knife, piercing through his facade. His expression turned extremely unpleasant, and in the end, he left looking utterly dejected. Zhang Jianguo did not leave Shenzhen. He found a job as a gatekeeper at a nearby factory. The security guard told me that Zhang Jianguo would leave a letter in the guardhouse every month. I opened it once and found inside his meager wages, along with a letter filled with remorse. After that, I let the security guard handle it himself and never opened another one. Later, those letters were gone too, and I heard he had passed away from uremia. I told Xiaofang the news, and she was stunned for a moment before taking my arm and saying, "Mom, let's go eat KFC."